We go on special assignment to learn more about the growing problem of anti-Semitism in the Flathead. A new challenger has emerged for the Flathead Sheriff's seat, and the incumbent hasn't decided if he's running yet. And the Capitol Tree Tour makes its way to Whitefish today.
Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on KAJ, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. Breaking news tonight, Mineral County is now not only without a functioning jail, but without a sheriff. Sheriff Tom Bauer has resigned from his duties in the midst of the county jail closing less than 3 weeks ago. The jail closed on October 27th after safety concerns arose over the diminishing number of detention officers. Mineral County Commissioner Roman Zalawi said Bauer's resignation came 4 hours before an important meeting where the jail committee made recommendations to reopen the facility. Those recommendations were to hire a jail administrator who would answer to the county commissioners, obtain inmates, train new bailers, and balance the budget. However, to help pay for the position, they would recommend to not fill an empty deputy position. Although one less deputy remains a safety concern for the county, the jail committee would apply for a federal COP grant, which would fill a deputy position for 3 years. In other news, in 2017, America has seen a major rise in something that many would think was far in the past. Compared to 2016 and many years before, anti-Semitism has been on the rise. MTN's Jack Ginsburg is on special assignment to see how one Montana town has been a model for how to defeat hatred while it's on the rise.
Just a few months ago, a group of white supremacists and neo-Nazis marched on the University of Virginia campus.
You will not replace us! You will not replace us!
The Torchlight March was a precursor to a rally the next day labeled Unite the Right. Protesters clashed with counter-protesters and the rally became violent. At the height of the chaos, a white supremacist, James Fields, drove his car into a crowd of counter-protesters, killing one woman, Heather Heyer. As shocking as this rally may seem, recent findings show it wasn't as rare for the year 2017. According to the Anti-Defamation League's recent report, 2017 has seen a significant rise in anti-Semitic incidents. From January to September, 1,299 incidents have occurred, compared to 779 in the same time period last year, a 67% increase. Not only have these incidents risen since 2016, but specifically since the Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville. 306 incidents were reported in July, August, and September, and 221 of those occurred either on August 11th, the day of the rally, or the month following.
Just a little under a year ago now, here in the small ski town of Whitefish, Montana, there were talks of a white supremacist group organizing an armed march down Central Avenue on Martin Luther King weekend. After seeing the events unfold in Charlottesville, it posed the question, would we have seen similar incidences of violence and hatred if that rally occurred here in Whitefish?
Watching the events in Charlottesville was terrifying because it was the worst of what we had expected. That someone was killed was horrific.
What started as an attack on a Jewish realty agent spread to the immediate Jewish community and ultimately became a full-on attack on the city of Whitefish. The city immediately started to plan for the worst in case the march happened. The Jewish community began to plan counter-protests, but in a different area, to ensure there was no violence and to steer the attention away from the hate group. City Council member Richard Hildner says the way the community responded was ideal in a difficult situation.
The community really got together and said, this is not who we are. These are not our community values. Our community values are values of inclusion. And I just couldn't be prouder. And people that I've talked to since have said exactly the same thing.
In a state where there are under 2,000 Jews, accounting for under 2% of the population, a city came together and took a stand against hatred.
While it was terrifying and horrifying, we also knew we weren't alone.
Rabbi Rostin received thousands of cards showing support, and the city was presented with a menorah from Jerusalem to honor their courage. Moving forward, the approach that Whitefish took against these attacks is something every community could learn from. Not only standing up to anti-Semitism, but hatred in all forms.
It's important that everyone stand up for each other. We certainly are highlighting what's been happening over this past year or two with rising rates of anti-Semitism, but we need to also all stand up against racism, homophobia, and other forms of bigotry.
In Whitefish, Jack Ginsburg, MTN News.
So far in the first 9 months of 2017, we have seen more anti-Semitic incidents than in all of 2016 combined. Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks will hold a wolf trapper certification class for free in December, and interested students should register now. Students will learn about the equipment and techniques as well as the history, ethics, management regulations, and requirements of wolf trapping. This one-time certification is required for all wolf trappers in Montana, but individuals that have already been certified in years past do not need to take the class again. Classes are taught by FWP staff and experienced trappers, and the next class will be Saturday, December 9th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the FWP headquarters on North Meridian Road in Kalispell. The class is free, and interested students can check the schedule and register online at FWP's website and follow links to Hunter Education. Online registration is required for all participants. And our Storm Tracker weather team is seeing some rain and snow in the forecast for the week, but first, maybe a little bit of sunshine. For more, let's take it over to meteorologist Russ Thomas for his first forecast. Russ?
Yeah, as we kind of break down the first part of the week here, that one period that we were looking at precipitation is actually happening right now, and in fact, sort of already moving through part of the state. Let's go ahead and show you what we've got here in our Doppler network, and you can see rain, of course, picked up, moved through much of western Montana. We're still seeing showers northwest, and we're also in the higher elevations, but you look off to our west, and we actually have some clearing sky. We do have a winter weather advisory through 9 a.m. tomorrow morning for the higher elevations along the Divide West Glacier region. About 3 to 5 inches of snowfall expected above 4,000 feet. But I do think our Tuesday is going to be a pretty good looking day in some spots. We'll have your complete forecast coming up.
Thanks, Russ. While the election is a year away in Flathead County, a longtime accomplished deputy announced his candidacy for Flathead County Sheriff. Flathead County Sheriff's Officer Patrol Commander Brian Hino announced his candidacy for Sheriff Friday at the Hampton Inn in Kalispell. From Patrol Deputy to Patrol Commander, Hino has served 15 years as a member of the Flathead County Sheriff's Office. He was born and raised in the Flathead Valley and graduated from Flathead High School, where he met his wife. Together they have 3 children. Hino began his career with the U.S. Forest Service as a Jewel Basin Ranger. He began his law enforcement career in Sheridan, Wyoming as a police officer after college, and has tackled assignments in narcotics, SWAT, search and rescue, and even served with 2 Bear Air. If elected as sheriff, he says he would like to increase staffing and include the use of technology to make the agency more efficient in their responses and address the future of the detention facility, mental health, and drug addiction, and as they become threats for the agency that they've never seen.
To deal with. We're going from a small community to a modern or more middle-sized community. Second of all, we need more involvement with the community, and I think that I have a lot of ideas on that. Technology is another one. We have a lot of things that we can bring in, or I can bring in as your sheriff, to better and to make our agency more efficient, but also be better at law enforcement.
And current Flathead County Sheriff Chuck Curry told MTN News that he hasn't decided yet whether or not he will seek another term. And 9 dogs are dead after being caught in a weekend house fire in Polson. Polson Assistant Fire Chief Terry Gambala says the homeowners, a couple, escaped the house on the 500 block of 10th Avenue West safely and left the door open in hopes that their pets would follow them. Gambala says the pet owners previously thought all their dogs had died in the fire, but on Monday morning, one was found safe. Crews from Polson City, Rural, and Finley Point fire departments responded to the fire, and Gambala says the house is a total loss as the investigation into what sparked the fire continues. The former Florence doctor accused of 22 felonies for misprescribing medication, including 2 negligent homicide counts, takes the stand in his own defense in Ravalli County. His defense attorney hopes to show Dr. Chris Christensen was actually a lifeline for patients who couldn't find care elsewhere with a medical background to help them. The premise of the defense's case is that Christensen is compassionate to a fault, a family doctor who took patients that no one else would. He established his upbringing and medical background in California and additional experience overseas before moving to Idaho to practice medicine in the early 90s. He said it's about that time that he also began to prescribe pain medications. He says he has particular compassion for pain patients after growing up with a father who was a World War II veteran and an alcoholic.
I realized that I grew up with a chronic pain patient, a man who had cervicogenic migraines. I just looked back at my own life and what it had cost my family, the divisions that it generated that existed from that time on, and I realized that, that in a very palpable way, there were effects that untreated pain had on the dynamics of a family.
And the defense says it is likely that Christensen will be back on the stand tomorrow, and the trial is expected to wrap up sometime this week. And coming up, Russ is back with the rest of your forecast for the week. And next, the Capitol Christmas Tree Tour makes a stop in Whitefish. We'll have that and more coming up.